is one of the executives with the Southern Baptist Joint Council on Public Affairs, and he wrote an article just real recently in Christianity Today in which he said that it was boring church services when he was a kid that saved his soul. We hear a lot of criticism of how church is boring for kids and youth, and he doesn't disagree. He said he was oftentimes bored out of his mind in church as a kid. He said, but something else was going on at that same time as he sat on the pews and listened to those old hymns and those old scripture lessons, as he sat and participated in rituals of communion. He said that quietly and constantly his soul was being formed. And later on in life, after his teenage rebellion, after his college drift, when he finally made his way back to church, he said what it was that brought him back were the snippets of hymns, the phrases from prayers, the memories of scriptures that had somehow gotten into his heart during those boring church days when he was a kid. He talks about how hymns, little tunes that he would hear, would suddenly bring him back to a place of knowing that he had a relationship with God that needed to be attended to, that needed to be nurtured. I know for myself that the hymns that I learned growing up are still the soundtrack for my life. In times of sadness, in times when I find myself overwhelmed by life, I hear what a friend we have in Jesus and know that I can take all of my burdens to him. At funerals, in my soul, I hear softly and tenderly, Jesus is calling us home, and I have the assurance of that faith. My own personal favorite hymn is a hymn that talks about how our hearts can wander from the grace of God and how they need to be bound, fettered to the side of Christ so that we don't drift. I believe that the formation of our souls doesn't take place in the big dramatic moments, the fun moments of life. It's that routine, that steady, that regular exposure to hymns and scriptures that root our lives in faith, and that's what will serve us for the long term.